anyways, I took a first response test on, December 24th in the morning, and it was positive, and I didn't have any more tests. That was it, because I was testing before, and I don't know, I just was kind of like, I don't really think I'm going to be pregnant anymore, like I don't need to buy any, whatever, so I just took one. And then next day was Christmas Day, and I don't think anything was open, and then the next day was December 26th, so I took I know I took a digital test to make sure it was good to go, because digital tests I know are more accurate, and it like says like pregnant or not pregnant, or smiley face or no smiley face or whatever. So then later that day we went to the hospital, and I was like, hi, I took 2 pregnancy tests, they both came out positive, and then they made me pee in a cup, and that was positive, and they took my blood, and I'm like, okay, you're definitely pregnant, you gotta fill out all this paperwork. So that's kind of how it happened. And then after that, I took the paperwork and I got a group appointment, which I talk about like giving birth in Japan. I think I talk about kind of what happens, but it was like with a bunch of like 4 or 5 women who are pregnant, and they're like all around the same time. Like you could be a couple weeks ahead, a couple weeks behind each other. I mean, I'm not really sure, but they kind of group it off. So, and they just talk about like your resources, your doctors, kind of just like random pregnancy stuff. And then you have to wait, and this is the stinky part, because they do an alphabetical order, and our last name starts with a W, so it's like we had to wait like 2 hours, and my husband was off work, but it was nice because he got off work. I mean, he wasn't really too complaining, but it took forever. And so finally we meet with a midwife, and then she sets up your first ultrasound appointment. And it's supposed to be done at 8 weeks. And when I got in there, the baby was measuring at 7 weeks. And that was kind of concerning, because I was like, I mean, sometimes, with smaller babies, you could have miscarriages or something wasn't lining up. And the only thing she said to me is maybe you just didn't ovulate in the middle of the week like everything else does. So if you have your last period, then sometimes just ovulate in the middle of the week. Well, maybe you didn't. Like maybe you ovulated towards the end and then you get your period. I don't know, like some women are just different. And then she said something about a cyst. I don't really know. I was kind of scared at that point, but my original due date was August 26th, and my son was born on August 26th. So I don't know if he was just measuring small then, because when we did our growth ultrasound, I mean, the ultrasounds are like totally off sometimes. And like the growth ultrasound, he was measuring like a week ahead, I think, or almost 2 weeks, week ahead. And my mom was like, I think you're going to have that baby. Like, I don't know, I felt like my due date was wrong. And she's like, no, we're going to keep it. It was just weird. I just had to look for some ultrasound pictures to show you all, I guess. I don't know, I'm just excited. Anyways, here's the pictures of him measuring little. So I guess if you are pregnant and you have a baby that might be measuring a little bit smaller, too much. I was only a week behind, so I guess maybe that's, or 5, because it's a week and 1 day. 7 weeks 1 day, or 7 weeks 2 days. So I was only like 5 days behind, so like I probably just ovulated a little bit later. I know like some people, when they do like natural family planning and stuff, they think they ovulate at a certain time, and since I wasn't calculating it, I don't really know exactly when it was. But yeah, so he was measuring that way. I was kind of scared, but they said everything should be fine and everything, and we heard a heartbeat, and so yeah, and then that kind of just started the journey. And I got really sick in the beginning, and my mom was like, oh, I got really sick too with you. And I really thought it was a girl just because of that. Like I heard if you get really sick, you might be having a girl. And I just remember like every freaking morning. And I was happy because it was never throughout the day. It was always in the morning. And I would usually feel better. And the other weird thing that happened to me in the first trimester especially was I hated hot tea. And I drink hot tea every morning. And like if it was sweet, like that literally made me want to gag. I loved unsweet tea. Like, there was McDonald's on base, and they didn't have sweet tea there, and I would go and just get, like, a gallon of tea and, like, drink it, because it was so good. And, even now, I'm still kind of like, if it's too sweet, I don't really like it, because I used to like real sweet tea, but now I don't like it that much. And I just remember, like, thinking, oh my god, I cannot drink tea, I will puke everywhere. Like, it was just, every time I thought of it, I literally threw up. And then there was a Scentsy bar that we had in the house. It was called like Amalfi Coast, I think. Oh my god, that bar made, like, every time I went in the house, I was just like, would throw up. It was just disgusting. I had to get rid of it. It was not fun. But once I hit the second trimester, which I think is what, 13 or 12 weeks or 11 weeks, I can't really remember, I'm sorry. I'll put it down below, I guess, when I look it up, like, when's your first trimester over? So, it was kind of like smooth sailing from then, and it wasn't that bad until I was 16 weeks along, I think, and for like 48 hours almost, or 24 hours, I can't remember, I had the worst headache ever. I couldn't get it to go away. It was awful. I just was like, I can't deal with this. Like, it says take Tylenol, and I got this little sheet that says if you have a headache for more than 24 hours and Tylenol doesn't help, you need to come into the ER. And I like didn't want to do it, and a bunch of my friends were like, I remember afterward, they're like, I had headaches, but I didn't have to go into the ER. Like, it was really bad. If I'm saying if it's bad, then it's bad. I don't really have a high pain tolerance either. I don't know if that's what it was, but I just remember going in there, and it was fine. I just had a really bad headache, and I couldn't get rid of it, so I got on like medication, and it was like, ah, and that was the first time I actually felt the baby kick. I remember just it was like a couple little flutters, but I wasn't sure if that, I'm pretty sure it was him, but I'm not 100%. That was like when I felt like a little flutter. And so that was kind of cool, but I just remember like being there and like getting all these drugs, and then after that, if I had a headache, like Tylenol would be fine. It was just like that one time where it would not go away. It was like, I remember it started in the evening before, and it went like all the way the next day until the evening later, and I was like, I mean, that's what the sheet says, so I'm just trying to come in here because that's what the sheet says. So, but that's him, and that's him. He's at the top, but you can see him. So, yeah. And then we wanted to find out the sex of the baby. And I didn't want to have a big party. I just wanted to do like something really small, nothing crazy, but I wanted to be like really surprised. And so I remember the ship was going to be gone, and you can do it between 18 and 20 weeks, I think they tell you. And I remember like going, and I was like, can you wait? Because I wanted my husband to go to Ultrasound because he hasn't really been to many. And he was like, they were like, okay, but I was like about to hit 20 weeks. I was like 20 weeks and 6 days, and I was about to hit 21 weeks. And I don't know if they wanted to wait that long, but I got in because it was like a Monday or something. And we wrote down, the guy wrote it down. It was like this sweetest Japanese guy. He was so sweet, like looking around. And I was like really nervous. And I don't know, I just was really nervous. So he wrote it down. And my friend baked us a cake, and I can put the pictures of that in there, but my husband actually looked, and he didn't tell me until we were flying home from Japan to America. I remember I don't know if he told me on the plane or told me, it was like right before we got to my friend Trish's house, I think, and he's like, you know what, I looked at the thing, because I gave him the envelope because I went to the bathroom, I think it was in my purse. Don't ever trust your husband, but I guess he looked because he was pressuring me to pressure my friend to bake this cake, who was also really pregnant. Like, she was due within like a month, and I was like, stop, she's pregnant. It was actually a couple of weeks, I think, or yeah, like almost 4 weeks, and I was like, Ben, stop. He's like, no, but it's super blurry, but that's Emmett's face. I don't know if you can see that. And this is a side picture of him. Where is it? Yeah, right, profile right here of Emmett, and I have this thing that says male, but anyway, so it's just, it was different. So then after I was also a substitute teacher, and I was trying to be active and everything at that time, and I got sick after I had like a pretty big bump. I didn't eat all day, and then I went to school. Well, I was working at school, and I didn't eat all day, so I got that too, so I decided to go to Taco Bell, and I ate Taco Bell, and I threw it all up, which was awesome. But that was the last time I ever threw up with pregnancy. Tomatoes and ranch a lot. That was like my favorite thing, and like unsweet tea was kind of a big thing. But then I started working up to 1 cup a day of hot tea again when I got kind of further along, so that wasn't that bad. And the one thing I had was sciatic nerve pain. It was like shot down from my back on my right side, especially. But like I had to sit down pretty much immediately. It was only if he moved, so I was always trying to get him to move out of the way. He would just like punch this nerve or like kick it, and I was just like, ah, and I like had to like lay down. It happened a couple of times. Or one time I was in the kitchen, one time I was in the bath, a couple times I was like in the living room. I remember my legs would go numb a lot more, which I think is kind of common in pregnancy. And then I didn't have diabetes, which was good. And I only gained 12 pounds, which is good. I'm sorry this is like totally rambling, but I guess I should have bullet points. And then I had, this is the big thing. I got a couple UTIs while I was pregnant. I don't know what that was from, but it's kind of gross, but it happens. And then towards my end of my pregnancy, when I was 34 weeks, my blood pressure started to go up really high. And it started with the bottom number. I don't know what that one's called. Systolic, I think. I can't remember. That kind of got to 90, and then my top number got really big. But I would take my blood pressure at home, and it was pretty good. At home, usually it wasn't super high, but every time I went to the doctor, I guess I was just nervous about what my blood pressure would be, so I'd get like anxious, and like I would just try to calm down, and like they'd always try to take it they would take it in the room, and it would be a little better usually, but I don't know what happened. So they tested me for preeclampsia, and I had to carry this big old jug of pee pretty much like everywhere I went. I remember I was part of this like group called Lighthouse where they had worship and Bible study, and I brought it there, and I brought it in a backpack, and I had to like pee in it, and then you had to like pee in this cup and then pour it in there, and you had to refrigerate it for like a whole 24 hours, and I just like dropped it off, and they're like, okay, we don't have preeclampsia, because if I had preeclampsia, they were going to have to induce me at 36 weeks, I guess. And I remember I was trying to tell my husband that, so he was trying to get home early because he was gone. So that was like another stress factor too, I think, because he was just gone. I was like, is he going to be here? Is my mom going to be here? Like, what the hell is going to happen? I don't want to give birth alone. I was really fearful about birth, which I wish I wasn't. I don't know. I just wish I had more education, like read up on things and tried to do things more like natural, I guess, and not like, it's not a fearful thing. I don't know. Anyways, so my blood pressure kept going up, and I wasn't like gaining any weight. I was just, my blood pressure was really high, and I was really thankful I didn't have preeclampsia, because that would have sucked. And I don't know, my friend told me that she had high blood pressure with her first kid. I just think it's something that you're just kind of anxious and worried about, and it just happens. So that was kind of scary. Oh, so speaking of this high blood pressure thing, sorry. I had to do non-stress tests every week. So they like hooked me up to the monitor and make sure like he was good and everything. And that wasn't that big of a deal. Like I would just have to go in the hospital. Like they be on the monitor for a while, listen to the heartbeat, make sure everything was okay. Like he wasn't being stressed out, and he never was, and make sure his kick counts and all that stuff were good. And then I started contracting a little bit like a week before, but nothing was really going on. I didn't really feel it much. And I had an anterior placenta, so I guess that's maybe why I didn't like feel kick. I felt movement a lot like towards the end, but I don't know if it's just because that took me so long. Like I remember without being on the medication, I first felt kicks at like 18 weeks is when I started feeling him like kind of move around in there. In the hospital at 38 weeks and 5 days when my water broke, and then I gave birth at 38 weeks, 6 days. So it was almost 39 weeks. And it was actually my due date from my last period was August 26, 2013, which I think is kind of interesting. But after they took the ultrasound, my due date was September 3rd. But he decided to come early, which I was totally fine about. My husband flew in, and I got 2 weeks with him before I actually gave birth, and then I got 2 weeks after, and then he had to go back to work. And it was like 6 or 7 weeks when my mom and my husband left, so I was just kind of there by myself, but I was kind of in the groove with things, like breastfeeding was going good, all that stuff, so I had it down pretty much. That, and like I said, I only gained 12 pounds, and at that appointment, my last doctor's appointment, which was 38 weeks and 3 days, she stripped my membrane, I'm pretty sure, or checked me and moved me around or something, because that was on a Friday. I was really crampy that night, and then Saturday I went to my friend's birthday, and I ate some Thai food, and it was a little spicy, so that could have done something, and then Sunday that's when my water broke that night. So it was, that was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know, some people do that, because I had an appointment a week before, and they checked me, and I wasn't anywhere. It didn't really hurt, and the second time she did it, it was like, she was stretching, trying to get something going, and it literally like worked like that. Like, I don't know if that's happened to anybody else, but it was like super quick and super good. It was like 2 days later, poop, I popped off Emmett. So I thought that was kind of crazy, because some people it doesn't work on, like to strip your membrane, or some people don't do it. But I also wasn't group B strep positive, like pretty much had an easy thing like that. Just a couple things, like my blood pressure was just high, and yeah, so then that's my water broke on Sunday, and I had him in on Monday, and I'll kind of put my birth story up too after that. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.